Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and how the game has been performing so far on its first weekend. The simple answer is that the game isn't exactly doing all that well in terms of sales, despite Ubisoft's best efforts to put a positive spin on things. For example, Ubisoft has recently announced that the game has now over 2 million players. There are, however, two problems with this particular statistic. The first issue is that players does not necessarily equate to sales, especially since players can access the game utilizing the Ubisoft Plus subscription, which would cost only $18 a month instead of the $70 needed to buy the game outright, or at least the base shell version of the game anyways. And it's very likely this particular facet is contributing quite significantly to the number of total players for the game. It's also unknown if Ubisoft is counting people who have since refunded the game into that statistic as well. But the second issue is that even if we gave Ubisoft all of those concessions, that all of the players are in fact buyers of the game, and that they only include people who still have the game, 2 million sales is simply not enough to save Ubisoft. Current estimates place the game as costing somewhere between $250 million to $350 million. And it's not even known if those estimates include the marketing campaign, which if they don't, could very easily triple the amount of money that Ubisoft would need to make just to break even. And even if we assume that the marketing costs are included in this statistic, well, Ubisoft would still need to sell between 5 million to 7.1 million copies just to break even. And the reality of this situation has been reflected in Ubisoft's stock prices, which started to fall once the insufficient performance of Assassin's Creed Shadows became apparent. Now indeed, at least part of the reason for the game's performance has to deal with all of the controversies surrounding it. But it is clearly not the only reason. It's also worth mentioning that it appears that Ubisoft's fears of being overshadowed by other releases are well-founded, as Assassin's Creed Shadows has been consistently losing out to games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Monster Hunter Wilds, both of which do appear to be eating into the market share for Assassin's Creed Shadows, as both games are consistently outperforming Assassin's Creed Shadows in terms of player counts, at least on Steam. And they're doing this, mind you, on Assassin's Creed Shadows opening weekend. It's not exactly a stretch to suggest that both of those games may have had a hand in the downfall of both Assassin's Creed Shadows as well as Ubisoft as a company. In fact, as a final damning testament, Assassin's Creed Shadows is performing worse in terms of player counts, at least on Steam, than Dragon Age Veilguard did at its peak. All of this is to say that Assassin's Creed Shadows has no indications of being the success that Ubisoft needed it to be. Instead, there is every reason to believe that the game is currently flopping and is unable to recoup its own costs. And this is a problem that Ubisoft cannot fix by sugarcoating it. The one final thing that can be said with regards to this whole situation, though, is that it will be interesting to see how things play out from here, now that the game appears to have legitimately flopped. And with that in mind, I will of course endeavor to continue to keep my ear to the ground and keep you all informed should any more news come. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.